Are you seeking guidance on your spiritual journey? Need help with a vexing problem? Missing a loved one and looking for answers? Look no further than Psychic Insights, a small trusted psychic service offering mediums, psychics, and spiritual coaching. This service is managed by Hollis Taylor, a gifted psychic medium, astrologer, and a compassionate coach. We are dedicated to helping you navigate your spiritual awakening. At Psychic Insights, we provide medium readings and psychic insight to help you plan for tomorrow and make choices for today. Find the support you need, compassionate grief coaching, and astrological insights to help you spiritually grow and transform. Our professional services include well-managed schedules, recorded sessions, and reliable psychic mediums ready to facilitate your transformational experience. Discover more at psychicinsights.life.
Hello everyone. How are you? I'm Hollis Taylor. I'm doing sort of a live broadcast tonight. That would be a live question and answer. You can ask any questions you'd like. And I always, this is my show called Cosmic Wisdom. And I hope that you can tune in every Tuesday night around this time, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, in case you're catching like a replay of this. I'd love to have you be part of the show, want to answer your questions. I've been a witch for a really long time. I do identify as non-binary. It is part of my spiritual path. And hey Tabitha, how are you? And hi Tani, hi Shauna, and Nikki, and Moy. It's good to see you all. I'm glad you're here. And being non-binary is very much part of my path as a witch. And also, I'm a psychic, I'm a medium, an astrologer, and a mentor. Generally, I help a lot of people open their third eye. I have everything from a traditional background of education in psychology, and I'm trauma informed, as well as I am. I have a. I've been through like Wicca 101 and stuff like that, um, and I would call myself a witch, but I do meditate, and I've been doing yoga for 20 years. So, so it's great to have you all here with me today, and I'm so this will be every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and it will be live on everything from YouTube to Facebook and Discord. Although I'm having a little trouble getting onto Discord today, but I think I'm finally getting there now. Usually I'm also live in my group called Mystics. So you can you can look at my profile and you can easily find that. And the event is also live audio on Discord. So I'm happy to like get your questions through there as well. Okay. Um, Hi Jeremiah. Hi Jeremiah, and it's good to have you all here. And I love to answer questions. Sometimes, for someone that's been I discovered I was a witch when I was 13. So, and Mercury's in retrograde now. So I'm a Virgo, and Virgos are ruled by Mercury. So sometimes communication could be a little off when that happens. And, so that can also help if you're interested in asking a question or want me to talk about a certain topic. I certainly will. Right now, this week's astrology, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, I do a vodcast with Bright Hawk, and the two of us talk about astrology. We talk about what might be coming up and how it would affect your life, how it might show up in our world, like such as politics a little bit. And we essentially try to help you understand what might be happening in the world. Um, and if it's every week, and you can also see this week's what do you want to call it? You can see this week's forecast if you go to our to the Rainbow Soul podcast. You could probably, whatever page you're following this on, probably has a post, and you can catch all of the horoscopes for every single sign. Um, and catch the broadcast for this week. It's going to be a great week. It's going to be really good. Actually, I think we're going to have some awakenings with the Kazemi on Thursday, Friday. I think we have a good week in front of us, and Saturday is going to be super faded. So I really think it's going to be a powerful week. Shauna, hi Evan and Jackson. And Shauna said, dude, I don't know what's going on with this planets and what I'm telling you, that I'm in a good place mentally, but my grief has been magnified 1,000 times the last couple of days. Well, Shauna, like I said, wait till, just stay open, just stay open. And hi there. Hey, Izzy. Uh, I'm also live at the same time. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's you. Okay. All right. So, can you hear me? All right. So, we got people joining over in Discord, and we got people joining in. Hopefully, Trump gets impeached, Shauna. That's funny. I hope so too, Shauna. I don't think it happened that fast. Yeah. Hey, Izzy. I'm gonna send you a message. Yeah, so um all right, there we go. So I don't think Izzy got that. Okay. Oh, yep. Yeah. All right. So anyone and so I don't know how this week for you Shauna, it's probably all that Leo energy. Um it's and I don't remember what house your son, I think your son might be in the 8th house, Shauna. Yeah. Mhm. Um and it probably has a lot to do with that Leo energy though, Shauna. I can hear you, Izzy. Hey Shay, how are you? Hi Shay. I think it is the 8th. Yeah, I think it is, Shauna. So that's probably why. So wherever Leo is ruling, whatever house it's ruling, that's going to bring that out. But just hang on, because just know that an insight is headed your way, Shauna. And I think if you just remember that, that's why I'm telling you that. And that's sometimes what helps you get through rough moments, is to know that there's like a light or some sort of download or something like that coming your way. I'm telling you that the universe is sending you a download. You'll have it by the end of the weekend. Saturday will be really faded. Even if you just decide to take the day off and heal and take care of yourself, then that was meant to be, if that makes sense. I just wonder if it's all coming up because I've been dealing with my abuse trauma as a child, and the fact that I know it's retrograde and all the planets are going berserk right now. Um, yeah, well, they're not going berserk. They're just going backwards, which mostly just means that it's going to be a lot of self-reflection. And that's really what we're dealing with, right? Like, think about how like the news channels and the media are talking about, are reviewing what we tolerate as far as these pedophiles and what we've been through in the past and what's been discussed in the past. All of that is all about review, edit, revisit, right? And it just so happens to be about trauma for you right now. You're having to review, edit, and check in with yourself and say, did I heal this trauma? Maybe I still need to work on this or that. And sometimes people think that they've healed the trauma, but they haven't. I even myself, sometimes I think and I'm not sure that there's actually an end to it. I talked to a therapist about this. I've seen a therapist about the trauma. I've seen a therapist since I was a very small child. So I don't have any issues seeing a therapist. In fact, I think it's one of the best things you can do for yourself. It's really good self-care. And when I seen a therapist in the most recent years, I've talked about, like, did I heal my trauma? I don't know, maybe. And I thought that one of them that I've spoken to said, well, I think if there's always more room for healing, but if you feel like it's not weighing down your life, then you're probably okay. And maybe that might change in 6 months or a year, and maybe it comes back up and then it affects your life again, and you're noticing another level of it. To me, in my experience, since I've been healing from this for like the last 20 years, I mean, I guess technically I've been healing since I was a little kid, if I've always gone to therapy, but I've been more conscious in the last 20 years. And what I would say in my experience is that it's kind of like peeling back layers of an onion. It's like, okay, well, I got that done, and now I'm dealing with this, and it's layers, and there will be breaks in between, Shauna. It's just that right now you experienced Corey's death, and that's part of a catalyst for you, which will catalyst you into healing everything you can, and getting in touch with a lot of the trauma that even brought you and Corey together. Yeah. And Shauna was saying that she can feel the downloads. My dreams have been really vivid. And that probably has a lot to do with Neptune retrograde. Neptune's trying to get you to process that trauma because we often process the trauma in our dreams while we're sleeping. So that's completely normal, Shauna. And Shauna said, I'm finding that the abuse that I suffered through Corey affected me worse than the child abuse. Shauna, I can see that because as an adult, like now at 50 years old, I recognize that there's some trauma from like my relationships, like my marriages. I've been married 3 times. Um, and sometimes some of the stuff that happened in those marriages, my first marriage, he cheated on me like, I don't know, like 1,000 times. Um, so that's really damaging to me. Those kinds of things, because trust is really important in relationships, right, guys? So, you know, I think that just at different times, Shauna, you deal with different parts of it. I try not to compare like one is worse than the other, but I will say that like a lot of times we are under the illusion that physical abuse or sexual abuse are the only ones that matter. And what I would say is emotional and mental abuse are very real, and very much affect your behaviors in day-to-day life. They can push you into what we diagnose as ADHD symptoms, bipolar, and every other kind of diagnosis that seems to be pretty common today. My therapist says it's because the abuse was so normal as a child that it didn't affect me in a weird way. I can see that, Shauna. I know what they're talking about there. Maybe, um, or maybe some of it's buried uh, in other behaviors, or maybe somehow you found some resolution somehow in some sort of behavior that you did. Maybe there was something that you did as a young adult or something like that that helped roll that trauma out. So it was also that, because I've definitely had that experience, and especially since I was seeing a therapist, at such a young age. So I would say that too, right? So anyway, so if you have any questions about trauma or psychic abilities or witchcraft or anything like that, you can just you can just tap in and put your question in the comments. And the name of the show is Cosmic Wisdom. And so I've kind of gotten through the part where we talk about the astrology this week, which, there's a Mercury Kazemi, which is when Mercury and the sun come together, which is going to have us some great downloads this week. So you'll have some great insights, especially when it comes to like Thursday. Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It will depend on your own sign. Okay. So, as we continue on, I'm going to, like I said, if you have any questions, just put it in the chat. Shauna said, I'm remembering more abusers as the weeks go on, and I'm up to 9 abusers as a child, and they were horrific abuses, but the trauma from Corey. And sometimes I just wonder, like, maybe we're just going through the layers. Like maybe you have to get through Corey's layer to get to the next person's layer, I had to do that. Especially, I had to like sort of look into my relationship with my husband. When I was with my husband, I looked at my relationship with my mother in order to understand myself, to figure out who I was. And then as I started to discover who I was, I realized that his behavior was tied to my relationship with her. And it's sort of like, sometimes can be a little bit like a string, right? Like where you have all these strings in a bucket, and then you know, you grab a hold of the one string and you think clearly they're two different things. Clearly, your mom, the trauma of your childhood was different than Corey, right? So you're like, okay, so I just have to deal with this death with Corey. So I'm just gonna, just keep working on that. And then as you keep working on it, you start to realize that, oh, maybe it was tied to my childhood. Oh, okay, I see. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you so yeah, I wouldn't even compare it. I wouldn't judge it. I would just stay present with it, and just allow it to come in. Realize that anything anyone did to you had nothing to do with your own self-worth. And I think that's the most important message that you can possibly get from any abuse, from anything that's ever happened to you, no matter the trauma, is that you remember it had nothing to do with your worth personally. Okay? Like, it's not necessarily your worth. It wasn't because you were lesser than, it wasn't because you were an asshole, it wasn't because you were a brat, right? None of that is true. What is true is that that adult did not behave correctly. Um, Shauna says it has literally burned into my soul. It's like a whole different level of trauma, and her and I can't explain it. And this retrograde has really brought it all up. Well, I think, Shauna, also, you've been dabbling with meditating and trying to connect with your guides and those kinds of things. And to be honest with you, that's what spirituality does. It starts to pull, it's a string. And then and as you start to heal one thing, you realize that it's actually related to three other things. And that's kind of how this goes. And it doesn't mean that it will be never ending. It just means that um, there's some layers. That's all. And so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Hi, Shika. How you doing? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Yeah. So, um, you know, there are a lot of different, when you start to dig in and start to explore, stuff like um, getting in contact with your spirit guides and these kinds of things. Um, these kinds of things really start to open you up to other things, and I think it's really important to keep that in mind because because this is spirituality. This is your soul. All right, so I'm taking a look in the group. Hey, Izzy. Sorry, it took me a minute to get to the group. Amanda said, "Oh, I've definitely been doing that a lot lately." I feel like I'm always a work in progress. That's right, Amanda. I think we all are a work in progress. All right. Well, Donna, Izzy, I'm glad you can hear me again. Um, okay. So Izzy says, serious question. I have a spirit who I know that lingers near me and worried about leaving, feels scared, and no one can see him, is stuck in a lower vibrational plane due to the manner of his death and actions in his life. What can I do to help him? Um, Izzy, it's pretty simple. Spirits can't really, I mean, sometimes they get a little stuck here. It won't hurt you or anything like that. Um, and the best thing to do with this spirit is to is to try to communicate with them and try to help them sort of tell him to find the light and then go towards the light. A lot of times they're like they have some sort of belief system that they're looking for hell or something and they won't go towards the light. I've had I've experienced a lot of different scenarios, but for whatever reason they won't go towards the light or they can't find the light. If they can't find the light, I would suggest that you put some of Bright Hawk's music on and and help guide them to the light. The other thing is sometimes if you clap your hands, the light will appear just above you, and then the spirit can enter that light just above. It will be not like on you or whatever, it will be above you. And if the spirit starts to walk towards that light, sometimes there's some heaviness or something like that around them, and the clapping will also. And also, if you use your voice with your power and you tell the spirit to go towards the light, go now, and clap your hands 3 times, and command with your voice and your inner gut, the spirit will move on. Okay. You can also use an animal skin drum. That's also pretty powerful. Okay. All right. So I think I got Izzy's question over in the group. And okay, so Amanda Thrasher said, this is a really great question. Amanda asked over in the group, can your spiritual psychic gifts, can grief cause your spiritual psychic gifts to open up more? Kind of, yes, Amanda. What actually happens is that you have some sort of, a person passes, right? And so then let's say it's your dad, right? And you're close to your dad. And so then he passes, and then he becomes your spirit guide. Okay. And then what happens is, while he's on the other side, he tries to help you heal any trauma associated with him, or with his death. So that could be like, something happened in regards to like maybe the way he passed was traumatic or something like that. Maybe you witnessed it, or just whatever. Okay. And maybe it was an accident or something. So all that trauma will have to be cleared. And just like I was showing Shauna, is the thing about trauma is like you kind of grab this one piece and you start pulling on it, and it keeps coming out. And then you think you're pulling on one thing, which you're kind of like trying to heal the grief, right? And you're pulling on it and you're trying to let go of that loved one that you lost. And then it turns out that there's something else tied to that. So then you have some more to work through. Okay. And so that's what I'm saying, is that it's actually something else. And so what happens is, the more you clear your trauma, then the more your third eye comes online, because what happens is that trauma generally covers your psychic abilities, all of them. All of your connections to the other side are covered by trauma and grief. And grief is just a form of trauma, right? That's all it is. Okay. All right. I hope that answers your questions. Beth said, how did you realize you were a witch? Well, that's a pretty good question, Beth. Let me say that I was raised Catholic. I've been baptized and all that hoo-ha. And as a teenager, I went to a Catholic school. My mom tried to shove religion down my throat. And the longer I studied it, the more I hated it. Okay, my mom was very abusive. I felt like the church in itself, including my mother, were very hypocritical as a teenager, and that really pissed me off. And it made me very rebellious. So during confirmation, if you happen to know what that is in the Catholic stage, but it's in teenage years, I it was the 80s is what I'm going to say. And I was a Satanist. Okay. And I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying it obviously wasn't good for me, because I didn't really, the more I did it, the more I was kind of like, this isn't really for me. And it took me a little while to realize that, but I think by exploring is how I figured it out. And yeah, I was a Satanist for a little while. I learned that it didn't serve me well, and I didn't like it very much. So, I started to learn about other alternatives, particularly when I got pregnant at 17. and then I started to explore what we would call alternative religions, I suppose. And that's how I came into witchcraft. And what I read about witchcraft was that it was almost as if I was just led to it. And I just picked up a book. I walked into a store, bought a book, read about it, um, and was kind of like, oh, I actually, and I remember the store I walked into was Bell Book and Candle in Dover, Delaware. I was actually just downtown for, I don't know, I think I might have actually been kind of depressed. And I was walking around in downtown Dover. I was a young mother. I was about 17, 18. I had a baby. And I just walked into the store because it kind of looked cool. And there was a book on the shelf about witchcraft. And there was tarot cards and stones and little cauldrons and sage sticks, and it was a witch shop. And it turned out it was one of the oldest witch shops in Delaware. Um, I figured that out later, but essentially, I bought a book. I started reading about it. The more I started to learn about witchcraft, the more I became interested because it was a very neutral version of what I had been doing. And it stepped away from the things that I wasn't interested in, such as like control and power and money. Those just aren't really important. They're not that, like, it's not my focus in life. Um, and so it was kind of um, it was just kind of an eye-opening experience. And then as my son got a little bit, and then I sort of went very deep into the earth. I had what I would call a spirit mama, and her name was Karen, and she answered questions about witchcraft. She pointed me towards astrology, um, and gardening. So I did that for a long time, and that really brought me close to nature, and that ended up pushing me further into witchcraft. hmm She was my spirit mama. She's passed now. Okay. Hi, Nandita. My son may be gifted. He can see his father and grandmom at our house. Um, Nandita asked, okay, so Nandita, I know that most people, we want to say that this person is gifted. Some people might say that I'm gifted, but we can all talk to our spirits on the other side. It's just that yours was turned off, and your grandson is lucky enough or your son is lucky enough to have you, and being so open-minded. And I think the best thing that you could do for him is to just, as a child, if a child is talking to spirits or showing signs of mediumship or anything like that, I think the most important thing is to not dampen it and just listen, and be encouraging and let them know that there is a such thing, and it's called mediumship, and this is what it looks like. Here's a medium. You can show them like little videos or something like that. That's what I do with my granddaughter. That's what I would do. Just let them develop. Um, okay, yeah. See, so Donna, you have to convince him that Donna said he believes he's going to hell if he goes to the light. Exactly. So Donna, you just have to let him know that there is no hell. He just has to know that there is no. Um, okay. Um, so, okay. um, Bet Wetstein said, I'm Lutheran, and it was the same for me too. I was very rebellious too. I still am. It's fascinating. Witchcraft. Yeah, it is. I think it's actually really great and empowering. I think it helps you find who you're. Um, I think it helps you figure out who you really are realistically. And authentically. I think it helps you find your authentic self, actually. I would highly recommend witchcraft for personal empowerment. um, so, yes. Okay, so hold on, let's go back. Okay, Shauna said, what is your take on the human? But I think she means shaman residents and the earth energy. I'm not sure. Try to ask that question again, Shauna. And then may I ask to see if me finding a good job, what am I happy with by the end of August? What's your sign, Ashika? When's your birthday, Ashika? Or what sign are you? And then that's right, Shauna. It is not about perfection. It is totally about authenticity. That's exactly right, Shauna. And great Bright Hawk's music is great for meditation. If you take a look, Bright Hawk just posted a fresh video about healing your chakras, which frankly is great for one of the ways that I healed myself in trauma, since we were talking about that, is one of the things that I did was I simply and very simply did Reiki on myself every single day. And so like every single day I would do like 20 minutes of yoga, and then I would follow it up with about 10 minutes of meditation, and I would do sort of Reiki energy on myself. I was Reiki 1 at the time, and I would just kind of give this to myself. Here's the meditation. And I think anyone can be Reiki certified, and I'm happy to Reiki certify you if you need that empowerment. But I think anyone can tap into the healing energies of Reiki or any other energetic healing. And check out that video I just put in the comments. It's really good to help you heal in any way. It can really help you tap into your full potential and help you become more of your sort of authentic self, like we've been talking about, because because having your chakras aligned helps you fall into authenticity and helps you be more of your authentic self. So that was actually one of the ways that I reprogrammed my body and my brain, was doing Reiki on myself every day. Now, I mean, no therapist or whatever is going to tell you that will fix everything, but I'm just going to say it doesn't cost anything. It costs about 10 minutes. Okay, it's actually I think 18 minutes video. Yeah. Ashika, let's see. Ashika, I got your question. I just asked what was your birthday. So I don't oh, you're a Pisces. Yep, Ashika, you're gonna get the job. Yep. I don't even have to look at my cards. You're a Pisces. North Node is in Pisces. You're gonna get the job. Your destiny is headed to you right now for the next year and a half. It's just what is happening right now. Okay, you'll get it. Hi, Samantha. Hi, Regina. How you doing? You probably get it by August 11th, Ashika. Sorry you got booted. The radar that measures the earth energy that they report every day. I don't really follow that too much, Shauna. Different people plug into different things, and I think you should plug into whatever you do. I'm not sure what that's based on, but I believe the earth radiates energy all the time. So, okay. And then Samantha said, is there ever a point where our soul family decides not to reincarnate and just be together on the other side? When you're an enlightened being, but it's not very much fun being over there. I'm just going to say that. It's boring. I know that mediums will tell you they're okay. They are okay. It's not suffering. It's not hell. But it's also not life. It's not humanity. And I know it's hard to believe, but people like to have lives, and some people have great lives. I'm just gonna say I have a great life. Yeah, it was hard in the beginning, but my life is great now. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Okay. So I'm just saying that I hope my soul would be wiser next time. But I'm just gonna say that just understand that death and being on the other side is probably something that you don't fully understand at this time. Okay. So just know that if you can understand that, then you'll be doing really good, Samantha. Just understand that death and being on the other side and whatnot is something that you don't fully understand at this time. So Sick Chick said, how would you suggest getting started? I see videos all the time and love outside Salem. So there's so many shops, it's overwhelming. Don't know where to begin. Um, I think read a book. I would say there's lots of great books out there about just find something on beginner's witchcraft. Um, I would say, come to these learning circles with questions or see me as a mentor and I'll help you build an altar. And there's a lot of stuff on the line. I think building an altar and just starting to educate yourself about the wheel of the year, going to free events. There's lots of, well, I don't know if there's lots of them, but oftentimes I have a free event based on the holiday for witchcraft all the time. Pretty much the whole wheel of the year. Technically, I should be making one for this weekend for August 1st. And I might go ahead and throw that out there. I might do it Saturday night is what I'm thinking. And then, and I think go to that kind of thing so you can see what it's like, see if there's any local groups to you, see if there's a local shop. If you don't want to go local and you just want to stay online because you don't want your family to know or something, there's plenty of safe online communities where nobody has to know what you're doing. And I would just say, just start poking around, just start experimenting with it, build an altar, get a mentor, talk to other witches, that kind of thing, and find out what other people are doing. Get a tarot deck. Definitely build an altar. That's where I would start. Build an altar. That was one of the first things I did. I read a book and I built an altar. And the book that I had told you how to build an altar. And Shauna said, I definitely want to get Reiki certified. I know that my power is that I work with energy. I'm learning that. Okay, Shauna, that's cool. And yeah, I believe earth energy. I also believe in the cosmic energies, auric and Reiki energy, and all of those kinds of things. So Regina said that she does healing hand massages. Cool. Okay, good. Shauna said, wrong. My therapist believes in all that and she encourages it. Good. Good, Shauna. No problem, Ashika. I'm glad you got the message. My birthday is Ashika. You'll probably get a download about it probably this week, Thursday, Friday. You'll have some sort of insight about it. If you listen to the astrology report, you would have already known. My birthday is November 18th. Will good things be headed my way? You're a Scorpio. Sure. Lots of things are on Thursday. Pretty much everybody is going to have some sort of, you'll probably have some sort of download about your work, Regina. I don't know what your rising sign is, but maybe you might have something to do with your work, or career or whatever you put out in the world. Shauna said, I have a question. I've been kind of feeling stuck, like I wanted to move forward, but I don't know which direction to move. Shauna, I would just hold on. Have a bunch of ideas going through my head and a bunch of downloads. Shauna, write down all of your ideas. Just write it down somewhere in a journal or something like that. And just keep working on yourself. And just know, sometimes, especially when you're on this kind of journey, like you might start stuff and then not finish it and then come back to it, or it doesn't work out. And It's kind of a lot of back and forth, but if you're really called to something, you'll know it because it will keep coming back, coming back, coming back. And I found when I was at your um, at your stage, Shauna, when I really started having my biggest of awakenings, writing was really helpful. So just write, just blog, try blogging, because the act of writing, for me, I use a keyboard and it's really easy for me, but maybe doing video blogs for you is good. Try to stay committed to like once a week blog. Try not to do blogs when you're triggered, only do them when you're in a good place. Try to do that. Okay. um Yeah, so Shauna, um, I think you should just wait till Thursday. Shauna said I've been trying to decipher them, but I don't really feel like I'm getting a direct sign, which where I'm supposed to go. So I just feel stuck, and I'm just laughing. I'm like, "Did you listen to the astrology?" Um, okay, good, Regina. Uh, Yeah, Shauna said that she started small, like with the cinnamon at her door and money bowls and stuff like that. Cool. Salem, Massachusetts is a cool place, but the real witches aren't often in Salem. Just saying. Most of the real witches are out in the Berkshires, which is the forest in western Massachusetts. I'm just saying, I go to witch events in Massachusetts, and the event is not in Salem. I'm not saying no witches live there because they certainly do. I know one that I know from that event who works in Salem as a psychic. Um, but like if you really want to get in touch with the community as a fellow witch, you attend their events, and there's events all over the country, depending on where you live. Um, I can pretty much tell you of a local community near you, pretty much anywhere in the United States. I can't promise the absolute health of that community, but um, yeah, some are better than others. Um, Retrogrades ends on my birthday on the 11th. Yeah, and you need to give it a couple days after that, Shauna. But Thursday is a Kazemi for Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde Kazemi. So what does that mean? It means that you'll have an awareness. Thursday, Friday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're going to have an awakening, a aha moment, a moment where you're like, that's it. Okay? So just be patient. Try patience. Um okay, Regina's an Uber driver. Okay. Michelle says that her birthday is Thursday. Happy birthday, Michelle. And yeah. Okay, so Regina grew up in Western Mass. So yeah, so there's lots of different ways to get into witchcraft depending on exactly what you want it for. Um Beth right now, Beth asked anything for Leos. Shauna is a Leo, Beth. Um, so what I'm saying for Shauna applies for everybody, really. And it also applies to you. Um, right now, Mercury's in retrograde in Leo, so you might be noticing um, kind of a little bit of a rough path, I guess you could call it. Um, Shauna said she's a double Leo Cancer right there. Yeah, that's right. So, um, so Shauna said, I'm still looking for a card. I'm supposed to go in, and I've read the contract a million times. The warranty looks good, but I'm still on the fence, so I haven't made a decision yet. Okay. Well, it's probably good, Shauna, that you wait. I can understand that. I would wait as long as I could. I would wait until either comes out of retrograde, but if I really needed it, do it like I said, like today. Um anyway, um so it's been a really beautiful hour, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and channel a message for everyone since I've been kind of itching for the entity that likes to come through me and in channeling. And so let's go ahead and tap into them. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're tuning in to Hollis's broadcast. I am just here to let you know that we are here with humanity now, that entities of all sorts are coming together to help humanity keep the peace, to help humanity stay peaceful as possible. So if it feels like divine intervention, it probably is kind of like that. So we just want to let you know that there's peace, that the things that are unfolding at this time are meant to unfold in order to bring people to awareness, and that the human race is much better than it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago. And as a race, as humanity has come a long way in those last 100, 200 years, and we don't have to return to war. And the entities that support the evolution of the human race are in support right now and are trying to help humans stay on pace for staying in peace. And in no way do we want to see an eruption, but we're hoping that humans will be influenced a little, maybe just enough to keep them from engaging in any destructive behaviors. And we just want to let you know that we are supporting that. And so try not to lose hope in your leaders, and try not to give up on fighting back. If you feel like you need to fight back, please do that. And we are calling to you. We are calling to all of those who need to fight. And for those of you that maybe have a quieter fight or a different kind of fight or something else that you need to do at this time, or whatever's happening in your life, just recognize that there are also some other powers that be that are not necessarily human, that are pushing through to keep peace on earth. Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay, well, hey, I like that message, right? I didn't really know what they were going to say. They just said that they wanted to communicate the connection of these other entities and how they are coming through on earth right now. And I was like, okay. And because I've had pretty good experiences in the past with this entity, I allow them to come through, and it's an interesting experience stepping out of the way. You really have to step out of the way and allow it to come through. But this is a good message. I'll go back and listen to it later. So I hope you all got something out of that message. So Shauna said, if I'm a double Leo, yeah, Shauna, anything that's happening in Leo, you'll feel it stronger. And so good or bad. So yeah, it doesn't matter if it won't always be bad. Sometimes it could be good. Right. I think the Kazemi this week is going to be good. I think it's going to be the aha moment, or a resolution to a problem. It's going to resolve a problem. It's going to tell you how to resolve a problem. So it's very important that you pay attention to that, especially you, Shauna, because the Kazemi will happen in Leo. It's happening in Leo. So this is when Mercury and the sun come together. And the sun is about shining our way forward. And Mercury is about communication and about contracts and about transportation. Okay? Technology, things like that. That's what my astrology report said. Peace. Yeah. Mostly. Sometimes I get worried, I get worried that we're gonna break out into war at any time. I'm sure a lot of you sometimes worry about that stuff too. I'm not the only one. So all right. Well, it was beautiful to just I just wanna say that there is an entity here. It's a masculine energy that wanted to come through before. Incredibly stressful. Incredibly stressed before he passed. Very stressful. Is somebody here related to masculine energy that um, was maybe depressed or angry or something like that before they took their life? Yes, that's true, Shauna, but it may not happen until 2026. Okay. That's right, Shauna. So this masculine energy, I believe he was in a very stressful situation before he passed. In fact, I think he probably took his own life. Were you middle-aged? Were you a young person under 20? Were you in your 20s? Seems like middle-aged, Tabitha. Middle-aged. So. Tabitha, does that match somebody? Samantha, was he doing drugs? I feel like this person may have been intoxicated. Feels like they had some anger inside. They had some anger inside. They had every right to be angry. I feel like it was like childhood trauma or something. It feels like they did drugs. Feels like the drugs were involved in his passing somehow. Either he was intoxicated when he did it or something, but he was incredibly stressed when he passed. Yeah, Tabitha. My cousin was on drugs and took his life. Yeah, Shauna, but I think this is Tabitha. Tabitha. Yeah, when I say Tabitha, I get the chills for you, Tabitha. The answer is yes. He wants you to know that he's ascended. He wants you to know that he's ascended, meaning that is somebody afraid that he's like in hell or something? I don't know who the hell would think that, but some people still believe that. So I just want to let you know that that's not true nor accurate. Okay, Tabitha. So it's important that you know that, and that's like his big. It's the big thing. Left hand. Did you fix things? Yeah. So was he good with his hands, Tabitha? Did he work with his hands did he like fix things and stuff like that? Anyway, this guy feels like he was good with his hands. He just wants you to know that he's okay though. He wants you to know that there's no hell. But if you found my channel, then you probably know that. Hopefully, and if you don't, I'm happy to inform you that there's no hell, and when a person takes their own life, regardless of how, whether they do drugs or take it or do something terrible or whatever, they are not punished for it. The universe is wise and loving, like Nadia Shaw always says. I think that's like the most valuable thing I've learned from her, is that the universe is wise and loving. In that the universe in the end will give them what they need to come back and do it again. um, you know, so they're usually, the universe is very compassionate and try to set them up so that next time when they come back, they don't have the same problem. Oh my God. Tabitha, no wonder he's trying to come through me. He took his life because someone told him he was going to burn in hell and was an abomination because of his sexuality. So he must have been gay or trans or something. That's awful. And if we wondered why anti-trans people are jerks, the fact that they had no compassion and kindness for him, and to even tell him that, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, Tabitha. No wonder he so strongly came through me. Because I'm an activist, I'm non-binary, queer, and I actively work against that. Okay, so yeah, he worked with his hands, huh? So yeah, so he's my left hand is on fire. Usually means that they worked with their hands, like they fix things or something, or build things, maybe both. um, and he just wanted you to know that he's okay and he'll be back. And that he's not punished for that, and the universe will, although put him in a similar situation next time, they'll probably make him stubborn and bullheaded like me. Where somebody tells him that, he'll just flip them off. I was a really rebellious teen and young adult. My mom pretty much said that, and I told her she was full of shit. So maybe he'll come back that way. Okay. Um, I believe it. I believe it, Tabitha. It's really hard to be queer, but just know that he is saying that it was a mistake, but that he will come back, and it will be better next time. Okay, he is ready for that. Shauna asked if the person is your soul catalyst, is that similar to a soul contract, and are they part of your soul family? Most soul contracts are a catalyst. In my experience, Shauna, I've never seen a soul contract that wasn't a catalyst. A catalyst is a person that comes into your life and is there to change things. And so I've never seen a soul contract that was not that. And they are definitely part of your soul family. Absolutely. You sort of made an agreement that they would come through in this lifetime and help you understand whatever it is that you learned from them. Probably a really long list of stuff, like, so just saying. Well, Tabitha, I'm grateful to be able to bring him through, because I definitely feel like he was actually standing in front of the entity that likes to come through me that I started channeling. And he was polite enough to step aside, but when I was done, he asked again. And so I granted the wish. And just because I don't mind taking another 10 minutes to do that. All right. So and I can always go deeper, and mediumship for me is usually, I can just, you tell me who you want to connect with, and we usually can. And I also do an astrology death chart reading. The astrology mediumship death chart reading is really awesome because it helps you understand the universe's perspective to your loved one's passing, and it helps you understand your connection to them and how they, what was your soul contract? Were you soulmates or soul or twin flames or something. And then also, it is also meant to really help you understand at the time of their death what they were thinking, what they were feeling, what they were going through. And the death chart reading is really amazing. And most people will listen to it again and again and again during their healing journey and get something different every time. I will just start channeling. I will channel the astrology. I will channel from your loved one in mediumship. And I will be able to answer the hard questions like, why did it happen then? What is this supposed to teach me? What am I supposed to walk away with from this? Like, those kinds of really hard questions. I think that's the most powerful part of the astrology with mediumship death chart reading, is that it answers questions that regular mediumship just doesn't answer it, or it's harder to answer with regular mediumship. That's why I developed it, and I'm the only person in the world that does it that I'm aware of. And I essentially use their birth date, their death date, and time and place, and I put it in the astrology along with your birth date, time and place. And I take a look and see how the charts interact, and that really guides us to more deeply understand your life purpose, their life, and how it began and ended, and what that meant, to you, and how that is to interact in your life. And regardless of whether they were murdered or committed suicide or died of something like a disease or a natural cause or something like that, doesn't matter. What their relationship was to you, whether they were a casual person, or they were a loved one, a partner, a parent, a sibling, a child, even small children, have destined situations in which they pass, and it was destined to be. Sad, but true. Okay. So, and Shauna said that the death chart reading is phenomenal. Thanks for that, Shauna. I appreciate that. I got more out of my death chart reading a year later. Yeah, a lot of people, it takes time to digest it, right, Shauna? And you digest it in kind of layers, right? And that's what I would tell you about it. It's definitely such an intense experience that you will probably still continue to digest it over time. So Beth, sorry, Beth, I was pretty sure it was the other person's, and the reason that spirit is probably coming through, the reason I think, what was her name? Tabitha? The reason that they probably came through really strongly is because I'm queer. And so what you learn in mediumship is it's easier to connect to the people that were connected to you, but it's also easier to connect to people that have some sort of common thread with you. And since we were both queer, of course, they wanted to come through and be a strong entity for you in this moment, Tabitha. Yeah, Shauna, you totally can do that. Shauna's saying, I think I want to get another one just because I'm in a different frame of mind. I understand that, Shauna. And maybe you'll think of different questions, and definitely can happen again. And maybe you would understand things a little bit deeper. Okay? So I think all of that's really important. And I think it's important to understand that the death mediumship reading is the most powerful reading I've ever done or seen, and it's the most impactful on people suffering with grief. And frankly, I'm so grateful that Spirit even led me to doing it. I am the one that made up the techniques and put it all together after taking many astrology classes. Like, I already knew how to read. I had learned how to study long time how to read birth charts, and then I started taking classes regularly, and I learned death astrology and medical astrology. And you can use astrology for a lot of different things. Everything from helping you find wellness, to healing, opening your third eye, what career should you do, what decision should you make? And you should definitely check in. I always say that astrology is the map to life. So you should be checking in. If you're driving across the country, you'd be checking the map every couple of days, right? So, or at least once a day, hopefully. So if you have never had your natal chart, I would highly suggest it. It's particularly if you're going through anything. Okay. Well, it was good to communicate and connect with all of you today. It was really awesome. I hope that you enjoyed it. Can you read about our abuse in the charts and find out what we're supposed to learn from? Yeah, Shauna, that's what I often do with the trauma coaching. I usually use your chart to help you heal from trauma. hmm yeah, so Shauna said you are definitely the most talented astrologer I've ever seen. Thank you, Shauna. I will say that I've learned from, and I use their names all the time. I've taken classes with Rick Levine, Nadia Shaw, Cameron Allen. I learned basic, what we call Western astrology, um, from Michael Barwick, who's a Canadian astrologer. And these are all famous astrologers that I'm talking about. And you could take their classes online. I do have a 101 class that I have developed that's in my page if you want to learn yourself, or you want to check out what I have. If you check out my website and go to the digital store, once you're in my website, just you can also go to /shop-2, or you can just look at the top right hand side and click on digital shop. If you use this code live 50%, I always live 50, sorry, you get 50% off of anything in the store, including the beginner's guide for astrology or how to connect with your spirit guides. Also, like I said, make sure that you check out um, Bright Hawk's meditations. There's a whole playlist of guided meditations, and I do the voice. Bright Hawk plays the music. And if you don't know what a handpan is yet, it's really awesome to find out. So go check it out. It's a live instrument that really helps open. Um, it really helps open your connection to the other side. Oh, Shauna, Rick Levine is a really great old astrologer, but he's really awesome. He's a decent guy. Um, so now you know who I learned from, Shauna. He's one of my teachers. I've watched tons of his teaching, his classes and stuff. I don't even know how many. A lot. Anyway, here's the link to the playlist is in the chat. I'm going to encourage you to check out those, especially if you've had someone pass in your life recently. Go to that playlist. There is a meditation that will help you connect with your loved ones. It will help you connect with your spirit guides if you're looking to do that. There's also other elements in there. And keep in mind, on Monday nights at 5 o'clock on the same channel that you're watching this now is also Rainbow Soul Vodcast. It's at 5 o'clock Mountain Time. So you can always watch the replay later. That's our astrology forecast. Tonight is me. Tomorrow night normally is Sarah Redcrow, but she had to reschedule, so Cheryl's going to fill in for her tomorrow night. And Cheryl will also be doing her tea time on Thursday night. Nicole will be on Friday night. Sarah will be back on Sunday night. So I'm seriously considering scheduling an event on Saturday night in Zoom, which would be about the current holiday, which is technically August 1st, but we can celebrate it over the weekend. And it's a cool holiday. It's a witchcraft holiday. So I'll probably do something like that. I just have to check in with other people that might want to be involved, such as Bright Hawk, and make sure we don't have anything else planned. Shauna said, seriously, listen to Hollis. They have guided me over the last year and a half. Has it been that long, Shauna? It probably has. Oh my. So that they are literally my mentor, and I take everything they say literally because it comes from the heart and the soul. I call it authenticity, right, Shauna? It's authentic, right? It comes from an authentic place. You're welcome, Sick Chick. I'm so glad you're here. I want you to change your name because I feel like you are pulling that down for yourself. And, your brain believes everything you say. So I'll leave us on that note. Your brain believes everything you say. So if you're sick, if you say you're sick, then you're probably sick. And if you say you're happy, then that's what you are. And if you think that you're mentally ill, then when you say that out loud, your brain will believe you. So make sure you be careful what you're saying to that amazing person that you are. And if you're looking for somebody to believe in you, just look within, because that's the first person that has to believe in you. You'll believe in yourself, and everything else will fall into place. Trust me, it worked for me. It works for most of us. All right? All right, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic night. Have a great week. Tell me what happens Thursday, Friday. I want to know. Send a message, comment on my page or something. Comment on this video or on the astrology broadcast. I'll be posting a blog about it too. So, comment on it. I want to hear about what happens to you Thursday, Friday, Saturday. What kind of downloads do you get? All right. Good night, everybody.
Are you seeking guidance on your spiritual journey? Need help with a vexing problem? Missing a loved one and looking for answers? Look no further than Psychic Insights, a small trusted psychic service offering mediums, psychics, and spiritual coaching. This service is managed by Hollis Taylor, a gifted psychic medium, astrologer, and a compassionate coach. We are dedicated to helping you navigate your spiritual awakening. At Psychic Insights, we provide medium readings and psychic insight to help you plan for tomorrow and make choices for today. Find the support you need, compassionate grief coaching, and astrological insights to help you spiritually grow and transform. Our professional services include well-managed schedules, recorded sessions, and reliable psychic mediums ready to facilitate your transformational experience. Discover more at psychicinsights.life.